Here we go, everybody. It's the podcast. My name is Garrett Sims. It is Tuesday, February 22nd, as far as I'm concerned. It's 10 o'clock at night. Don't know why we're doing it now. Whatever. I'm going to be honest with you, before we get into this whole thing, I am flying by the seat of my pants, honestly. Not that I didn't want to do a podcast today. I seriously just get to the point where I'm like, listen, I can only do so much talking about certain things, and I feel like I could talk about more, but why just, you know what? Stop with the excuses. Let's get into it. Here we go. We're on. Now, before anybody says anything, yes, it's a little bit darker than what I normally like to do, because I like using natural light for my podcast. Since I'm doing it 10, there is no natural light. So I just tried doing it the best way I could handle it, and most of that was being very dark. I'm hoping maybe I can get some more LED lights, because I actually hooked some up around here. If you can kind of see them flashing a little bit. But I felt like that was a little bit too dark, and so we moved off that entire idea, and this is where we're at. Just a little bit here. Golly, see, I'm not prepared for this at all. I just got an opportunity. My roommate was leaving for a little bit. I was like, this is probably, my opportunity to do a podcast today. So I was like, let's go ahead and do it. What's the worst thing that could happen? And here we are. We're doing a podcast. We've been dealing with some terrible weather. And I talked about that a little bit yesterday. But today was the first day in a while that it was super nice. It felt like 70 at times. It was around the 60s. No clouds were in sight. It was an absolutely beautiful day. It reminded me a lot of, obviously you get to this time of year, and, if I'm completely honest, I think not being in high school, as weird as it may sound, I think it makes it a little bit harder to judge the time of year. Like, sometimes I forget it's just February, or we're about to go into March. Like, I forget things like that. I'm like, wow, it's really almost March. And, when you were in high school, you would kind of be able to tell by certain sports starting up or certain sports ending and all those types of what have yous. So I think it's just very weird. And I was trying to put my finger on all day. I was like, what is this, what type of vibe does this weather give me? And I said, this is honestly like one of those ones where you sit back, you go out to a pond. You may not know if you're going to catch anything or not. The water still may be too cold. But you grab your reel, you grab your backpack, and you just listen to music and relax. And that's exactly what I thought of, because, I'm not an avid fisher guy. Fisherman, I don't do it a lot. But when I do go fishing, I like to enjoy it, and it's very enjoyable for me. And a lot of last year, actually, we went, me and my buddies went on a couple, we went out and we fished a little bit. Actually, I caught my first fish of the season, I think. I couldn't tell you the day, but I could tell you where it was at. It was at one of my buddies' grandparents' house, and I was the first one to catch a fish that day, surprisingly. And, I hooked that thing pretty good because I needed some help getting it off, because I was sitting there trying to mess with it and stuff like that, and I was like, dude, I can't. It's in there. And, and I'm sitting there, I was really proud of it, I'm sitting there holding it, I'm like, dude, this is really cool. I think, honestly, it was the first time I had caught a fish since I want to say my sophomore year. I want to say that's how long it's taken me to do that, to catch a fish, was basically on the verge of 2 years. Actually, I think it would have been 2 years. Yeah, 2 years. I don't go fishing a lot, but when I do, I get to enjoy it. So I just wanted to throw out there that was like the first thing on my list to talk about. I'm still trying to figure it out. Look at me, I'm just sitting here stalling. Nobody's ever gonna listen to this and be like, "Hey, we're gonna take this guy seriously." Well, I'm gonna go into something that I've been noticing with me working out and stuff like that. I think a lot of times, and I talked about this in one of my second videos I ever did, and I remember very vividly because I was so excited about what that video meant and the message that I was trying to portray. about complacency, because it's something that we all deal with. We all deal with adversity. We all deal with complacency. We all deal with those type of things. And I remember talking about it, and it was something I was very proud of, and I hope in, a little bit later to come that, maybe one day somebody will reflect on that, or maybe it would get popular enough, or my channel would get popular enough where I get the chance to convey that message again. And, during winter break, I think I was at 218, I want to say. Like, if I was lucky, I was 216, but I was around 217, 218. And, I had always battled. I battle very, very harshly with my weight sometimes. Like, I fluctuate so much. And it takes me a lot to kind of get into a groove, but once I do, there's really no getting out of it for a while. And so I came back from winter break. I was excited to finally get to work out again. I learned a couple workouts I wanted to do, and, just keep adding on to what I improved on. So I want to say that was, I want to say it was sometime in January. Couldn't tell you. I probably should be able to know the exact day, but I don't. I want to say it was like the 12th or the 8th. It's one of those two. And from then on, I started these new supplements. I had started using 2 pre-workouts. I always switch every day. Not that I didn't like the first one I had, but, I think I had it for, I want to say, honestly, like 2 months. 2.5 months. 2.5 months of that, you're a little bit tired out of one flavor. No offense to old Blue Raz, but you get tired of that real quickly. And I've been going through these new supplements. I kind of found a workout that got me to push myself a little bit more, and I could do different versions of it 2 different days. Like, I could do the same workout 2 days, but switch it up a little bit to where they were totally different. And that's what I started doing. And I always been one to say, like, you won't see the results right away. And I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I did. Maybe I seen like a pound or 2 go away, and I was sitting there for a little bit. I think I came back home, and did what I had to do. I forgot the first time I came home. I really did forget it. I knew I came back for the Super Bowl, and I went one time before that, but came back, worked out a little bit harder. Then I started seeing a little bit more results, and I was really happy with it. I think by that time I was like 210, 208. So at that point I was already down 8 pounds. And I'm not saying that was actual pounds or whatever it was. It could have been just like water weight or stuff like that. But I was about 210, 208, and I felt really, really good. And I was really happy with myself. But I said, there's that part of me that said, like, you still have to keep going. Like, this isn't what you want to accomplish. You've been to 210 before. You want to get back. My ultimate goal has always been 195, and there was a point where I didn't think I could ever accomplish that. I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think it was ever possible for me to ever get back down into the 190s. And, weighed myself today. I'm sitting at 203. Technically, scale-wise, I think I'm the lightest I've been since either my junior year or my freshman. I can't remember. It was very close my junior year, but I know for sure my freshman year I was down to 203. But they were 2 different 203s. I mean, one was because I had lost all my muscle that I had built up the entire semester working on, and then I didn't work out at all, and then it just was losing muscle, and it wasn't a genius idea. This is a different 203, to be completely honest with you. This is working out, developing muscles, working on, muscles like I didn't know I had, and those type of deals. So they're very 2 different 203s. I could show you 2 pictures of when I weighed in at 203 and be like, listen, there's a huge difference between those 2 photos. But, I've been happy, and it brings me back to this whole message is that, working out isn't an easy thing. There's not a lot of people that are willing to embrace that grind, to wake up and say, listen, I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to, do an extra set that I don't want to do, Yeah, you can cheat it. You can cheat it all you want. You can say, I'm not going to do a rep, I'm tired. You could say, I'm not going to do a set because I don't want to. But listen, at the end of the day, the only person you're hurting is yourself. And a lot of people, I've figured out this too. A lot of people want to decide how good their workouts are by time. Or maybe quantity of reps. But there's one thing for me that will take precedence over those two things in a heartbeat. And it's something that I will argue is the most important thing when you're working out, and only you can tell what it is. And that's quality. I think quality of reps, I think quality of sets, I think quality of workout takes precedence over whether you were in 2 hours or whether you were in 30 minutes. If you're in there 2 hours doing jack squat and doing a curl every 5 minutes, listen, that's not helping you. If somebody's pushing themselves to do, you could give somebody the same workout, and you could know somebody that works a little bit faster and somebody that works a little bit slower. They could do the same exact workout, same reps, same sets, same everything, but because their times are different, what does that mean? One could the 30-minute guy could have a better quality workout than the guy that stays in 2 hours. That doesn't mean that 2 hours is a better workout. And now that doesn't also mean either that 30 minutes is a good workout. It's all about the quality. You can't judge it by, I did 10 reps of bench. Okay, you did 10 reps of bench, but were they quality bench press reps? Was it a challenging weight that pushed you? Was it good form? Or was it sloppy, low weight, you could do it easy form type deal? That's what I mean. This is I spread myself out on a board here. Everything I talk about, I just spread out tremendously and say, pick and choose what you want to look at. Okay? But if somebody ever tells you that because I was at the gym longer, or I did more reps, doesn't mean they're a better lifter than you. It's about the quality. And only you will know what quality is and what quality isn't. If you're sitting there doing curls and you're pushing yourself and you can feel your muscles working, like you can feel each independent muscle. When I do curls, I can tell you right now, I can feel my bicep working. I can feel it down, and I always try to change up the weight, but there's about an average of what I do sometimes, and if I do a 25, I'm obviously going to do more reps with the 25 than I am when I go up to a 35. Until you can work up, get stronger and get to those 35s, and eventually, if you do 35s 2 days in a row, 2 arm days in a row, you should be doing more reps on that second time than you did the first. That's improvement. That's progressive resistance. And say maybe you fall 1 rep short. But if they were very good quality curls, that's all that matters. So when people say that they're gym rats because they stay in 2 hours a day, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. Because I stay 2 hours a day doesn't mean that I'm improved. I could go sit in a gym for 2 hours and do absolutely nothing. That doesn't mean that I'm actually doing anything. The time isn't what matters. It's all about the quality. And I wrap that up into the small message. Trust me. I've seen myself take an hour and 30 minutes to do a workout, and I've seen myself do 50 minutes to do a workout and have the exact same feel. Time isn't what matters. The amount of reps isn't what matters. One day I could do less sets and less reps, but still get the same amount of burn. Is doing more reps or what have you. It's just all about the quality. You got to break it down into this rep, this rep, this rep. As soon as you're done with those reps, it's looking forward to the next set. It's set by set. rep by rep, making sure that everything you do is with a purpose and that you're pushing yourself. Because I could sit in there all day long and dumbbell bench 45s like it's nothing, but at the end of the day, I'm not doing anything. I mean, maybe a little bit, but it's not going to challenge me as much as using 95s, maybe 100s. We're all working towards an ultimate goal. Some people want to be strong. Some people want to be fit. And, you know, a lot of those good ways to do it is just have a good quality workout. And a lot of people ask me, well, how do you judge your workout? I judge it by the quality. And I will tell you at the end of the day, hey, that was a quality workout, or, you know, we need to come back tomorrow with our A game. Because some days you have bad days, and you can't control that. It's out of your control. Sometimes you just sit in there and you're like, man, I have my pre-workout in, I don't feel like doing anything. But guess what? That's where you find out how motivated you are. That's when you push. And that's where you find out how much you really want it. Those days where you feel like doo-doo and you feel like you're having a bad day, pushing yourself will help you find out how bad you want it. And some days you'll walk in and you'll be like, listen, throw 315 pounds on that bar. I don't care if I get it or I don't. I'm going to try it. So there's that. That's going to be kind of the message of the day. TH, so glad to see that somebody's using the comment section. I'm doing good, bro. I hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a great day. We were just talking about the gym and what I personally do, you know, how my workouts go and everything like that. I actually speaking of that, I'd love one day to do like an entire, like, what do I do at the gym? And whether that's actually being in the gym and showing you the workout, which, listen, you don't need me to tell you how to do bench press. You don't need me to tell you to do that because, you know, let's be honest here. But just sit down and go through, like, this is what I do. This is what I superset. These are the reps I do. If you're going for more of a tone day, this is what you do. If you're going for maybe more of a strength day, just it a little bit like this. You know, and I struggle a little bit, honestly. When I do my leg days, I find a struggle to find motivation sometimes. And it's not that I don't like my legs, because I do. I do love working out my legs, but I do my squat reps. You know, I warm up with some overhead squat, and then I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, there's just, you know, I just don't think you feel as much as a burn in your legs as you do your upper body. And to me, I feel like I get a better quality workout when I work out my arms than my legs. But I still push myself to do the leg workouts that I don't want to do. Wrap that all up. We're going to get into some NFL action. I said yesterday, I talked about Russell Wilson. I guess this is a big factor that I guess everybody's kind of talking about is, will he get traded or will he won't? I said, listen, there's no way they trade him. But I guess 24 teams have occurred about him, or whatever you want to call it. They've inquired, you know, whatever, called about him. Do I really think he's going to get traded? No. I think it's a fun storyline to throw around, like what if Russ did get traded. But I don't think it's possible. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's possible. I just think the only reason Seattle is relevant isn't because of Pete Carroll. If you've noticed, he's a defensive head coach, and his defense was one of the worst in the league. And they fired their offensive coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. So what they do there is going to be big. Listen, at the end of the day, all Russ wants is a little bit saying his personnel. He just wants somebody to come. Actually, who was I rooting for in the Super Bowl? If you don't know this, I'm a huge Chiefs fan. Actually, I think I talked about it in one of my videos. I don't even remember which one it was, but I did talk about the Super Bowl and my thoughts on it. Basically, to sum it up for you, I'm not going to sit here and blame the refs. I'm not going to sit there and blame the O-line. I mean, Tampa Bay is just such a great team. And I wish them luck because, you know, the whole idea of running it back is super hard. to go back-to-back, to get to back-to-back Super Bowls, very hard. To win, even more of a challenge. It's going to be interesting. I have full belief in my Chiefs to do it again. I seen another storyline today that's actually very interesting. The Washington football team is going to be unveiling a new name, but it's not next year. It's going to be the year after. So we're going to have another year of the Washington football team. As crazy as that sounds, we're going to have to stick with it for another year. That brings up an interesting little topic, a little fun little name game, if you want to call it. What are they going to be? And I know their owner, and it's going to be interesting to see what he picks. I think a lot of people were leaning towards the Red Tails. They could switch it, and they could do what their hockey team and their baseball team do and go something like the Nationals or the Capitals or something along those lines. But I said, I think it's interesting. I would like them to see them do the Red Tails. I think that would be very interesting because I think they could keep the color scheme they have because I think their color scheme and their uniforms are terrific. I think they're one of the best in the league when it comes to like that nice maroon helmet and the vibrant yellow that it has. So I don't really want to see them move away from that. I just want them to kind of keep the same color scheme, keep the same idea, just change the name. So this is going to be interesting to watch. Theory or not, I think the Cleveland Indians are going to change their name to the Cleveland Wild Things. I think that makes so much sense. They haven't won a championship in so long, so you go back and look, like, what has been the biggest staple to the Cleveland Indians ball club, and it's the movie Major League. So I think it'd be really, really cool for them to be the Cleveland Wild Things. As for that, listen, I get it. I put this together on the fly. My roommate went, I forgot what he's doing. He was just out of the room. I think he went to another dorm or something like that. I said, you know what, this just gives me an opportunity to talk on the podcast. So we were totally winging it. That's my bad. I don't know if it was interesting or it wasn't. But, you know, appreciate everybody that listens. I promise tomorrow that it will be a little bit better. So we're going to wrap it all up for a little bit of food for thought. We're going to read the nice comment that I got from our buddy TH. He said, I did a bet with my friend for it. I chose the Chiefs to win, and he picked the Bucks. As my punishment, he chose to give me an atomic wedgie, and it was so painful. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, as somebody that likes to gamble a little bit in the lottery, I'll be honest with you. I think I could take an atomic wedgie, then lose $100 to $200 on a game. So, yeah, it might be painful for maybe the 5 minutes after or the 10 seconds during or whatever. But, hey, at the end of the day, I'm okay with an atomic wedgie over losing some of my money. So, TH, I appreciate you stopping in, man. Feel free to stop by tomorrow. We're going to do one tomorrow. I've been working on some ideas for some special videos. That was the food for thought. I'm Garrett Sims. This is the podcast.